calling the regular meeting to order at 7:30 on Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, and if everybody could rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right,
Highway Commissioner Kuzmierczak. Here's Assessor Moylan McCry. Clerk Giovanni is here. Supervisor Morantz.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee McKenzie.
Here.
Trustee Carabota.
Here.
Trustee Sweeney.
Here. Okay. First order of business, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the August 27, 2019 bill pay review.
Motion to approve minutes, August 27th, 2019, bill pay review.
Second. Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none. Trustee
Just
Sweeney.
in terms of the minutes of that, we had asked for an itemization on that particular check number from Carrie Lynn. Did we receive that?
I wrote it out that night, and I
Right.
gave it to you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she wrote it out that night.
Okay, so was that put back into the bill pay?
So yeah, that would be a suggested amendment that reflect that that was done and that was provided.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought there was more itemization coming.
Well, I think it's in the next minute, so that you said that it was.
Is that?
I think it was filled out.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing none. Clerk Giovanni, can you call the roll?
Yeah, it's
Supervisor.
regular minutes.
Supervisor Morantz.
Abstain.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes, again, it's confirming that the itemization was provided as long as it's included.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes, and may I ask for the reason for the abstain?
I wasn't here and I didn't participate by electronic.
Okay.
So it's required. Motion, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the August 27th, 2019 board meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the August 27th, 2019 Maine Township Board.
Second.
I mean, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, changes, amendments? Trustee McKenzie.
On page 3, on the top, I believe, fifth line down, clients and the names are being, I think there's a typo, it should be withheld. And then the next paragraph, it says she pointed out that it should not be there, and it should be, she pointed out that it should not be charged to capital fund. And then this is just a question, we were supposed to get an email based on the next line. Administrator Berman stated that it is temporary and it will be moved to a new created line item and the email will be sent to trustees. I don't recall getting that email. Did anybody else get that email?
I'm sorry, what was?
We were supposed to get an email on what line item it was reclassified to.
That email was sent.
I missed it.
Yeah, that's okay. Did you want me to print it up?
No, you can just,
Okay.
you can just tell me what date later, it's
I
fine.
sent it the following day, and
Oh.
the email was.
Could you just resend it to me?
I'll resend it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, I'll resend it in the morning.
Thank
Feels
you.
like forever ago.
I know, that's okay, I'll resend it in the morning to everybody.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Can somebody also suggest that there's a typo here in its name? It's one N. It's on the first page.
Okay.
What is it?
It's her last, her middle. The Lynn is just one N.
Oh, I'm sorry.
to be recognized, Supervisor Ryan?
Oh, I'm sorry, trustee Sweeney.
Were you finished? Trustee?
Yes.
Okay. Page 4. The third motion down, the sentence is, I think it's just typos, it doesn't read well. So to substitute what is in here as motion to amend, subject to approval by township attorney on a 36-month limitation due to the board term expires prior to that, the board will grant provision to allow to make this decision. If any event the new board cannot, the lease will go month to month. It's a longer sentence, and I just thought for clarification it might be a little easier to understand and be more grammatically correct if we said motion to amend and then repeat motion to amend, which the motion to accept the Neo Postage Machine 36-month lease for $293.27 per month, invoice quarterly for a total of $10,557.72, subject to approval by township attorney. And then a second sentence, if the board cannot, due to the fact that the lease extends beyond our term, the lease will continue month to month. I will pass this down so you can read it.
Why can't we just add some grammar to this one?
That's what I was intending to do. So if you want to change it,
It's
that's
like a
fine.
motion to amend, comma, subject to approval by township attorney on a 36-month limitation due to the board term, limitation period, capital D, due to the board term's expiration expires prior to. It just needs some punctuation.
That was my intention, so if you want to change it, that's fine. I just don't think it reads well the way it is.
I think also the period of the limitation and capital D for due is going to kind of throw it off too. I would second the proposed amendment.
Was this said? I wasn't here.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney, my question is that your insert has an amount?
Well, my
That wasn't
insert
in-
reflects what trustee Jones' motion was,
I
just
see.
for clarification. I'm, open to changing anything just to make
But
it.
you amended,
Clear.
so that was her motion, right? So
Right,
the
my motion to amend. So
and
the
the
discussion was that our attorney, Carrie Lynn, was going to see if we could make an exception in this case and actually make a decision based on this 36-month lease because it was so much,
Right.
it was a more economical decision.
But what actually was the motion that
Right.
people said at the meeting?
That's what I was
Well-
asking. What's the motion to amend that was actually made by you?
The motion was to grant the provision to allow this lease if in fact it's acceptable. If it's not, that we would then go month to month as we have been on this, and maybe make a decision later to change the lease to something else, like
Because we're doing
24.
36 months on term, that's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think we need to just listen to the tape to see what the motion was.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's what should be on here, the motion that was made at the meeting. We shouldn't rewrite it, right?
Right.
Well, can we just, yeah.
Subject to that.
Okay, so I'm going to ask one of you to amend that to just reflect whatever it said on the tape. Does that work?
Okay, I'll make an
For trustee
amendment.
Sweeney?
Yeah, I'll make an amendment, or a motion
And I'll
to
be
change the meeting minutes to reflect what is stated on the tape,
Second.
see tape,
Second.
regarding the motion to amend.
Right, but she'll just write it out, like what was said. Right.
I think Viesha listened to it a few
I
times,
think
but I didn't go back and,
So,
okay.
because the motion was difficult and because everybody was talking
Okay, so
about the
everybody's
report, so I did listen and this is what I came up with
Okay.
by
How about this?
listening. So I don't know if you want me to listen again?
I mean, we could say motion to amend subject to approval by attorney, period,
That sounds good.
and end it at that, and then say see tape.
That's fine too.
Okay.
I mean, as long as
That's
people
good.
understand that we're month to
Second.
month anyway, that's, okay.
It says it above it, so I think that's pretty clear. I mean, I wasn't here, but I think that's pretty clear. Is everybody good with that? Okay.
Yes.
Did you get that?
No.
Okay, so it's motion to amend, so we're
Second.
changing the meeting minutes to reflect, and we're substituting the language that's there for the language of motion to amend subject to approval by township attorney.
Period.
Period. See tape. See videotape.
So when you hit the word attorney in the first line, it's a period there, and then it's C tape, and the rest goes.
All right. Clerk Talamas, can you call the roll?
And thank you.
Second.
Supervisor Moran?
Abstain.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota? Trustee Sweeney?
Oops. All right. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve general assistance expenditure. Did I miss something?
You passed the plan minutes, or just?
I just had bill pay and board meetings.
Just pass the minutes?
Here it is.
Just pass the minutes.
Oh, I thought we passed the minutes.
Yes,
Wasn't that the motion?
I just passed the motion, not the
I
minutes.
just
not
found
the
it. I'm
minutes.
proud of myself. I can see
I
it.
got the amended motion.
Did you
Yeah.
pass the amended one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so just to make it clear,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. I think we just passed an amended motion to amend the minutes, to do the minutes. To make it clear, right?
Yes, we got voted.
To approve the minutes.
Right.
With that amendment.
Claire's,
Yeah.
well, and Claire's.
Right,
Okay.
right.
With both.
Okay. Just what I'm saying.
I make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates September 6, 2019, and September 20, 2019. General assistance checks number 52185 through check 52247 in the amount of $46,649.18.
I second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? And Clerk Talamas, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, I am requesting a motion to approve the road district expenditures.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates of September 6, 2019 and September 20th, 2019, and road district checks number 21036 through check number 21070 in the amount of $74,174.65.
Second.
All right, having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Clerk Talamas, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran? Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the general town fund expense.
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of September 6, 2019 and September 20th, 2019, and general town fund checks number 57115 through check number 57184 in the amount of $296,879.64.
I second.
Okay, with the motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Talamas, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, and now is public participation. Do I have any requests for public participation? Seeing none, we are now going to go to old business. And first order of old business is the establishment and discussion and vote of salary increases, which at my request, I believe, was held over from last time. So I am going to make a motion to pass the table the amount that was in artfulness, the amount that was discussed previously, which is 40,000. This is 40 under that amount. The outer limit was 42. So I'm going to make a motion to pass the one that's $40,880.
Second.
All right, having a motion and a second, it is now open for discussion. And is there any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
This is a second payroll increase that is those who follow along with township government about 2 or 3 meetings ago, there was the debate on whether or not to renew the medical policy that is held by the township. The cost to the taxpayers compared to a different Blue Cross Blue Shield plan that we could have accepted and under the new plan would have required the employees not to pay 5% of their pay toward premium, but 20 to 25 to 35% of their pay to premium, which is customary in the job market, cost the township, in my numbers, $384,000. There was some argument that it wasn't that much, it was $344,000. There's some argument that it was $260,000, but my figure is $384,000. Both in premium savings lost to the township, and also the fact that once that premium is established, under the new policy, we could have required the employees to pay a greater portion of that rather than the taxpayer, and that would have been 20, 25, or 35%. In exchange for that, for my vote, my one vote, I made it very clear that there was potential for pay increases of $57,000. Those are potential pay increases. It was my position that, as long as it's the understanding that the $57,000 pay increases will not be pursued, that the taxpayers will, have to pick up the tab for the increase when it comes to the medical plan. Why would I do that also? $57,000 versus $384,000. Well, because number one, we have an excellent staff. They really do a great job. Number two is, I had a number of the staff people ask me, please, if we can get this plan, keep this grandfathered Rolls-Royce plan, which it is. There's a debate whether it was, and then we had professionals that confirmed that it is. And I've been in the insurance business, I've been a licensed insurance agent, broker for over 30 years. And it is. It's a beautiful plan. But in addition thereto, the employees would also, under the new plan, have to pay increased co-pays. They have to pay increased deductibles. There are items that aren't covered under the new plan that would have been covered 100% under the old grandfather plan. All that gets put onto the backs of the employees if we switch. And that, of course, increases their cost. In addition, we had a number of very serious claims, what was referred to by our specialists as shock claims. It's always been my position that you don't go changing the guard, so to speak. You don't change your insurance policy, your medical insurance policy in the middle of illness to save premium. That's not good for the employees. We had a claim for $800,000 that was disclosed. We had a claim for $287,000 that was disclosed. You don't switch plans in that time period. So here, I went along and I said that was what my contention was, and there was a lot of heated argument as to whether or not we should keep that plan. Because if you step out of the front door here and walk down the street, no one's got it. Only we do here in Maine Township. It's been saved for, what, 10 years? And I think it was the right thing to do. Now we come forward, fast forward, and now we're going to be talking. This was for my vote. Now we come forward and we're looking at pay increases, hey, another $40,000. And yes, we've had good savings during with the township, but that was my position. The $384,000 difference compared to $57,000 in the pay increase. Then you set off all the savings of the employees. You set up all the better protection for the employees. As the employees also made clear, they have family members on this policy. So we went ahead to save that policy. I think that any discussion about pay increases really is not, right now, is not timely. I think that if there are other savings of the township, great, that'll help offset some of that $384,000 difference between that and $57,000, and also all the costs that would have come out of the employees' pockets and claims, etc. And not to be saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and now we're going to pass the insurance plan to say no to the pay increases, kind of offset some of that cost, and wait a few months, and then come back with the pay increases that added up about $44,000. There is one part that bothers me though, and that is that there are certain employees that do not participate in the medical plan. For those employees, I think that they really weren't included in my understanding as far as what my decision was. So I think the employees that aren't participating in the medical plan, that those employees, and I looked at those increases, I would not have a problem with that. What is that amount totaled out? Totals out to about $4,800 or so to the township. And I think it's a fair thing to do if they're not participating in the medical plan. But that's how I view it from both the employee's perspective and performance perspective, and for the person writing the checks. Not writing the checks, funding the checks. We write the checks, but the people funding the checks, if they weren't funding it, their checks we write wouldn't mean anything, which is the taxpayer. I think it's fair all the way around. So I would hope that this pay increase, I'm going to vote against it for that reason, except for the employees that aren't participating in medical insurance, because that pay increase has already been given. I'm not voting yes for a second one. And I hope that's understood. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If I could make one comment. You're talking about additional savings. Well, in my department, we had the one full-time member retire. We haven't asked to replace that person because we're no longer doing the city stickers, but I've got myself, one full-time employee, 2 part-time employees that picked up the slack and no longer having somebody. So in my opinion, I certainly feel they're all entitled to a raise because they're doing more work, and we've saved approximately at least $50,000 by not hiring another full-time employee.
Trustee McKenzie.
I just want to ask Dave, or Trustee Carabota.
Dave.
When we had the discussion about the health insurance plan and whether or not to continue with the current plan, we had our consultant, we had both our health insurance consultant and we had the salary consultant, both here, I believe, on the same night, and they were here various other nights. I might have not picked up the right message, but the message that I heard was that in order to be fair to the employees in the process, if we were to increase or ask for increased contributions from the employees, which is what we were looking at as an option and what like the mainstream insurance benefits are, that would be a much greater cost to the employees than they have today, because now they have, I believe, a 5% contribution, and we would be, trying to work to a more neutral contribution level, which would cost them more money, obviously, although the premium would go down probably. But anyway, it would be more expensive for the employee, and then the out-of-pocket cost would be more expensive because the deductible would go up, which is one of the major factors. Although, looking at the history, that would only affect a couple of the employees. But anyway, that being said, our health insurance consultant, I believe, I have to look at my notes, but I believe she said that in order to ready the employees for that big of a change, that we should transition and get the employees' salaries to at least a median basis so that it would be fair. That's what I heard, and I could be wrong, but that's why I would vote yes for an increase, because I think that if we really want to, and I think we do, we said that we did want to change over to a more conventional health insurance plan with a higher deductible, that's going to cost the employees more because they're going to contribute more, that we have to at least pay them what the market or baseline median is. So in my mind, we have to take steps because, I mean, in my mind, I'm going to be reviewing the health insurance again come this year for our budget because I think that we need to change. It is very expensive. I expect the premium to go up again, and that's going to be a problem. So I don't think it's fair that we expect the employees to pay more, but not get them to a median salary level. And if you look at what is being requested, and I'm looking at the lower one, which is a total of $32,900. We're not talking about, over the top significant or substantial increases for any one person. It's, it's broken down between, you know, the different levels in the compensation study, where, you know, employees were 60 to 40% below the minimum, and 39 to 20% below the minimum, 19 to 10% below the minimum, 9 to 1% below the minimum, and then at or above the minimum. So, I mean, I was hoping that we could look at this issue with some kind of analysis towards what we said was the goal. I heard the goal to be to lower our healthcare costs because they're so high, and to go to a high deductible plan. I would hope that we could do that next year, but I don't feel that it's fair to take one consultant's recommendation and not the other, putting them together. They were here the same night, they said the same thing, it was coordinated. So that's what I heard, but again, maybe I heard wrong.
Now, the answer to the
Okay,
question.
you need to be recognized, and just so everybody knows, you get 2 bites.
I'm not being recognized, I was asked the question.
Yes, I did ask Dave.
Okay, trustee Kirabo.
The,
And then, you know, everybody gets to speak twice, but not until everybody's spoken once. And
my vote was made very clear. I went on and on and on and on, and you'll go back to the tape. And it was very, very clear that the only reason why, I mean, the tipping point that got me to go ahead and vote for keeping that medical plan was in exchange for these anticipated possible pay increases not going ahead for this year. That was number one, it was real clear. Number two is, to be quite frank, I don't think it's a good deal for the employees. I don't think by giving the employees $40,000 to prepare them to yank the policy away is a really good idea. I mean, a real good plan for the employees. I think it's nickels and dimes, and it's just hurtful. To be hurtful to them and hurtful to their families. For that $40,000, it would be better for the employees to defer that $40,000 and not pursue it. In addition, based on our financial situation, if we were to, let's see, next year yank the policy, we can always then go ahead and increase pay at that time and add in the $40,000 if that's what we want to do. Right now, I don't agree with taking the policy away for the reasons that I articulated back at that last meeting, including the claims that are ongoing with the township. And the fact that once you get rid of that grandfather policy, it's gone. You are never getting it again. The value of that policy has to also be added into the total benefits, the total package that the employee has. You don't just look at payroll and have that on the side. Then you have this benefit on the side, then you have another benefit. It's an entire package. So if the goal here is to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to give the employees another $57,000, or we're going to give the employees another $40,000, but we're going to take away the grandfather medical plan, I don't think that's the best way to go right now. However, if we do it in the future, like I say, we're in a very good position to say, okay, if we're going to yank that policy out, they have increased costs, your percentage of premium that you will be paying, the taxpayers will save money both on the premium, and the taxpayers also save more money because each employee will have to pay more of their respective premium out of pocket. The employees will also have more costs, which is a good point, because raised by Trustee McKenzie, because the deductibles go up, the co-pays go up. So based on that, right now, I think, like I say, if we're going to go ahead and pull that plan, we can go ahead and give a pay increase at that time. I don't think it's fair to taxpayers.
You were just answering a question.
Yeah, I answered your question. I don't think it's fair to taxpayers right now that I went ahead and said, okay, we'll defer the $57,000, cost you $384,000. There's more savings now that's popped up. So rather than offsetting some of that $384,000, we're going to spend it on pay increases. I don't think that's the best way to go. I'm looking at what's best for the employees, the taxpayers, everyone all around. That's my answer.
Okay, thank you. So,
Thank you.
Nobody, I mean, just Trustee Sweeney or Trustee Jones, before I can talk, want to make a comment, because everybody gets to make a comment before anybody else gets to go again. And anybody, you know, is only twice on this discussion. Okay, I'm gonna unmute you. Trustee Jones.
As Trustee McKenzie stated, we did hire a salary study, a woman to do a salary study at a significant cost to the township. It was about $15,000 as I recall. The results of that were 60% of our employees are being paid below minimum compared to other similar governmental entities. So, 2 people that night, as Trustee McKenzie said, recommended the salary study advisor and the insurance person that what we would be doing is hurting the employees if we change the insurance and we don't give increases because we're not competitive in the market. Our employees' salaries are not competitive in the market, so if we want to keep good people, we have to provide a reason for them to stay employed with us, and that is to give competitive salaries and to give good benefits. That's why people work here. So when we kept the policy, it's true, it is expensive, but I think the tipping point, to be honest, for Trustee Kerboda is his family is on it. It's not some generous offering to the employees. And so we need to take.
I'm not going to help here.
I'm sorry, okay, guys.
But his wife is part of the family.
Just the insinuation's
So, no,
terrible.
they're
It's
not
nonsense.
insinuating.
It's
It's
not
wrong and it's
insinuating.
not true.
Okay, everybody has to, you
It's
can't.
a smart Alex Einstein's
It's
mind.
not, Mark, it's a fact.
It's not.
Which you.
My wife and I are on the policy, and if you want to change the policy for
You don't have to
$40,000,
disclose
there we
that's
go.
the point. You
Doesn't
need to
matter.
disclose that.
It does, I did disclose it at each meeting, and you brought it up again at the last
Trustee
meeting.
Carabello,
Every meeting I brought up the fact that I'm on the policy with my wife.
Actually, you've
But
never.
if you want to yank the policy from these employees, go ahead and for $57,000, go ahead and do it. I vote.
I'm calling you out of order, and please don't interrupt from the audience. Everything's a matter of public record, so.
Yeah, so don't distort it.
It wasn't, okay, first of all, Trustee Jones can make her comments, okay? You don't, as we learned from Kurt Asker, you can't censor. I didn't censor yours, nobody has censored yours. It has to be kept
You're accused of
hang on.
being wrongful.
It has to be.
Accused of doing something I didn't do again.
Oh, God, it has to be respectful and not
Why don't you speak up
attack
for the
each
reputation?
other. I will not accept it, okay? Otherwise I'll cut off, everybody gets one chance, okay, to talk. So far, I haven't, I want Trustee Jones to finish, and Trustee Sweeney to make whatever comments she needs. Trustee Jones.
Okay, I just want to respond by saying that I invite people to look at the tapes, and you will see that it was never voluntarily disclosed by Trustee Kerboda, and that I will leave it at that. The point is that we kept the policy for reasons. Only one trustee is on it, and his family. Okay, so it's not some generous offering. And I'm happy that the employees have that policy. However, we need to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need
All right, so,
to-
yeah.
You have to stop interrupting, Trustee Kerboda.
There's a reason why we paid for a salary study, and that is to analyze how competitive we are in the marketplace. And we found out we're not that competitive. And so in order to rectify that, we have to bring up the salaries so that in anticipation of changing the insurance, that we're not hurting the employees with a double whammy. And so we have the chance to do that today, so that we can do this in a progressive, reflective way, instead of just whamming them with, all these fees, and then have the potential of losing some really good employees. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to say that going back to the July meeting, when this was discussed, so there's no quid pro quo. Trustee McKenzie is correct. Both experts spoke that night, and we are not voting on insurance right now, and I understand. You're right. Next year we will discuss insurance, and But it was clear from both experts, as I think both trustee McKenzie and trustee Jones discussed, that you can't just, move to an HSA or a high deductible or actually a non-grandfather plan, which may not even have a high deductible. There were quite a few choices, I think, to have them broad ones, without even making us competitive. I'm the person that interviews people. We lost 4 people in a row, after, I'm sorry, you can't talk in the middle of right now.
I missed
No,
public
you actually
participation, and I was accused of something, so I would just.
Okay,
like
I'm
to-
sorry, I
Nobody
can't,
said your name, nobody said anything about
you're
it.
not accused of anything.
Nobody accused
I
you.
am part of family.
Okay.
Am I not?
Okay, no, right now, I'm speaking and,
And I'm raising my hand if I'm called.
okay, but
That's it.
we're not in the middle of public participation.
Well, this happened after public participation.
It's
Before we
okay.
take a vote, I think he should have the right to speak.
Not in the middle of me talking.
I agree.
So,
I'll wait at any moment before you
Honest.
adjourn. Just-
okay, so I am gonna run an orderly meeting. It's the last thing I do. And I mean that. So no, you can't speak right now. Okay?
Will I be?
Prior to.
I don't know if you will be speaking prior to the vote. It has nothing to do with this vote. Nothing.
Just before adjournment, that's all I'm asking for.
I'm sorry?
Just before adjournment, I would like.
Oh, yeah, I don't have any problem with it. Before adjournment, but it's really, public participation is where it is for a reason, but.
But
All right,
This is done
Susan, let me please finish. Okay? I said yes. I said yes.
you said prior to adjournment, I think he has the right.
He definitely.
Before we take a vote.
I'm sorry, trustee Sweeney, you don't have the floor. You can't interrupt. And the gentleman asked prior to adjournment. That is what he said. That is literally what you said, right?
There's a compromise on that.
Okay, good. So, as I was saying, back in July, or actually I think it was back in June, we lost 4 people in a row, who, 2 of which were directly due to some of the market, or below market, that our township is paying. And we did pay for a salary study. I thought you did a very thorough salary study. Back in, I think it was June, it might have been July, trustee McKenzie requested that instead of, I think I proposed in June or July, I can't remember. I had done a 2.5 across the board. And trustee McKenzie had requested with a 42,000 bucket at the maximum, because we had done, when we did the insurance, and we had discussed preliminarily raises, trustee McKenzie had raised back then that we had not yet discussed all the savings that had been realized by my efforts at consolidation, by the employees' efforts in consolidation, and each of them being cross-trained, doing like 2 or 3 jobs, which is happening. Pete not replacing an entire employee, saving, Denise and Chris, we have an entire employee gone, that we do not have, so we now are minus 2 pensions, 2 health cares, and so we, as trustee McKenzie pointed out, them had not yet talked about the savings that had been realized. I did a chart of that. And then we had this bucket. The bucket was actually 57,000. So the 40,000, the savings, it was more than 57,000. But, so the one I'm suggesting, which is still like translating into maybe 5 cents a paycheck for most of the people, what trustee McKenzie had requested, instead of a 2.5 across the board, was to see what it would look like to do it as the salary study lady had suggested, which was proportional to higher ones going to the people who were the 60%, who were under, and so on and so forth. And I think that this, I think the board does not, they had previously stated they didn't want to micromanage. We came in $1,200 under that limit, $1,020 at $40,880. Back in July, even Trustee Sweeney had changed her mind and wanted to work with a $32,000 bucket. So we did one like that. And what I'm proposing is the $40,000, which is less than 42, but more than 32. And then, you know, anything on the insurance obviously is a separate vote, but we have to get some of these people to even market. Like, otherwise, we are going to lose people, or they'll unionize. And we've had a really good relationship with our employees, and they, you know, we have a very good working atmosphere. All of the reasons I said in July, and I did what was requested at the time, and I think this is not unreasonable. It's, you know, we spend far more than that on many other things, but my point is it's not my point. My point is we've saved so much money with our consolidation efforts. We still will be saving money if we give this attempt to make our township competitive. Because when I was interviewing people for various vacancies, it was next to impossible. We would not have a payroll person. We would not have that person had Carrie Lynn, Chris, and Denise, and we come up with this solution. It wouldn't happen. We interviewed 8 people. None of them, I mean, everybody's starting with $66,000, so just for that job, which, and nobody was qualified. Nobody. So, my point is, since even that time, we have now saved on 2 more people's salaries, health care, salaries, as well as health insurance. So those are all the reasons. And I think, you know, of course next year we can discuss health insurance. But I think these are now 2 separate things, and I do agree with Trustee McKenzie, and it says you can't pull the rug out from under them and expect them to move to a health care that they're not even able to pay. So, that's my comment. Trustee Sweeney.
First of all, I want to recognize that I do realize the efforts you've made towards consolidation, and you as well, Pete, but Laura in particular for the township. I looked at the audit and how it compared this year to last year, and I looked specifically at salaries, and I looked at all personnel costs. So I could see some significant savings. But I'd like everybody to think about what Trustee Carabota had said and re-listen to what he had said if you get the opportunity to on tape. Because I couldn't have said it better. I will pass down the analysis that I had done and give you each a copy of this. I want to talk just about the changes that we have had. Dave referenced the $384,000 costs that we otherwise would have saved. So what's absent in the conversation is we do want to offer something to the employees, but we also want to look at what it costs taxpayers. So to think that we nearly could reduce our healthcare costs by 1/3 of what we're currently spending, I take issue with what Trustee Jones had said. We do have a very generous plan. And if we're gonna look at market when it comes to salaries, we better look at market when it comes to healthcare costs as well. Because we have significant savings that we afforded each employee to take advantage of, except those that are not on a healthcare plan. The grandfathered healthcare plan that we signed up for is costing us $1 million, that we had in 2018-19, first of all, was $1,022,926. In 2019-20, it went to $1,115,183. So one could look at that and say, oh, that's a $92,257,000 increase, of which we as a township pick up 95% of that. Because of the Affordable Care Act, we have to take on the full 95%. But had we been in a different plan and we picked an HSA plan, we would have spent $900,000 instead of $1,115,000. So that would have saved the taxpayers $204,335. And then if we, as Trustee Carabota had referenced, shifted some of the additional cost from the employer, the township, to the employee, that's another $180,000. We could save $384,000. That's very significant. And I think you ought to consider that we're passing that on to the employees. So to be, to say that they haven't received a benefit in salaries when each of them has more like $8,000 or $9,000 in healthcare costs at least, when you take $384,000 and divide it by 45 employees. So, and I don't even have that number right now. I think it's more than that. But my point is that you can't disregard the fact that that was part of the analysis of why the salaries for this year, maybe not forever, because I hear what Trustee McKenzie's saying, and that is that at some point, if they're under market value, and we do, and I've read the salary study, and there are people that are 20 to 60% under, below the market rate, and perhaps at some point we should be addressing some of that if we are losing people, but I don't see, we just hired somebody that's under market rate, and they're content with that. So I think even the healthcare, the salary study had said that it was difficult to find private sector matches, and that those that might align are slightly below private sector. So, we have a slight below. So, to your point about the bookkeeper, that was raised too, right? I don't really understand why that happened, because the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the Chicago metro area, had said that we should be able to hire somebody for $46,770. I understand you had a problem, and it didn't seem like that was, an opportunity for us. But until we feel significant loss of personnel, I think, to position this to the employees like they're getting shortchanged by not getting a salary increase, when, oh my gosh, we almost had a $400,000, increase in cost to them that would have resulted in healthcare if we were on a market-based plan. So it's got to be considered, I think, when you consider the total package. And again, you don't look, when somebody gets hired, they don't just look at salary, they look at the complete package. And everybody really wanted to protect the healthcare cost. So I felt, as Trustee Carabota had, at the time we talked about this, the decision that I was making was based on looking at that data and seeing how much those all the employees stood to, benefit from keeping a grandfathered plan, when that's not typical in the market. And I don't agree that it's not a generous plan. It's an extremely generous plan. So based on that, I would suggest that we wait until, further down, and if we make shifts in the healthcare, and we need to, look at the impact on the employees from a salary perspective, that we do so, and keep it, and address those that are in the lower end of the, below market range, based on the study that we've done, which I think is somewhat, in my opinion, it didn't fairly look at private sector, and it didn't consider some of the townships that I think were key. So I see some concern with the market analysis.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question. Everybody having spoken once, Clerk Dulanus, can you call the roll?
I make it, what was the question?
Can I make a motion to amend or no?
Yes. And trustee McKenzie, you may.
I make a motion to amend Supervisor Marask's motion to the second schedule that was provided for the allocation of the salary increases to the total amount of increase that totals $32,900. And that would be increases from 0% to 5% versus the 0% to 5.5%. Also in my amendment, I would propose that for all of the full-time employees that are getting the 1% increase that were at or above the minimum, those increases should be bonuses versus permanent salary increases because they're already at the minimum, and we're trying to raise everybody to at least one standard.
I would like to make an amendment to the amendment, which would be considered
I
prior to
don't
the
know that you
amendment.
can do that.
Yes, you can allow for a second amendment, that's a Robert's
We
rules.
haven't voted on the first.
But you vote on the amended amendment, and then you vote on the amendment, and then you vote on the original.
Yeah, that's,
So
you're allowed to.
my amendment would call for those employees that are not currently receiving any health care benefits to get the increases that have been suggested under that are those employees, and there's 6 of them.
I don't think
That
that's
are below
legal.
the 1%.
I don't think that's legal.
We can finish the amended motion and I'll show you that.
Right, but
So-
we have to vote on Claire's.
No, because
And it's
I'm,
finished.
No, this is just a totally different, it's an amendment.
it's an amendment to the amendment.
I'm not
I
allowed.
have the rule right in front of me. I have the rule
Where's the
right-
rule?
Where's the rule, the sheet?
Yeah, because I have it right here.
That's the chair's.
That I can call the question after everybody has spoken once, and that you can speak twice on a particular question on the same day, with permission of the, whatever I am. Thank you. So I did allow Claire to amend, and now you want to amend the amendment, but we haven't even voted on the amendment. These are just 2 different things.
You don't vote on the amendment when you have an amendment.
Okay.
Is that correct? We can get a clarification.
This is why we need a parliamentarian, because it seems.
Okay, well, you don't want to give raises, but you want to hire a parliamentarian? I'm sorry, that's a little
Just
nuts.
inform Robert's rules.
Can our lawyer give us a ruling here?
Gosh, I mean, I think we really should just try to figure out what people are voting on in general, because it looks like the supervisor was trying to vote on one chart, and it sounds like your amendment wants it to be the second
And
chart.
I'm happy to do that.
convert it
That's
to-
fine.
Do you want to just withdraw?
Yeah, I'll withdraw mine. I will make it Claire's.
No, but
And,
Claire's adding the bonuses, which is.
well, no, I would make it just the chart,
Which is
because
not
I.
on the chart.
Well, then, okay, so if you withdraw your motion, let's just make.
No, I want you to
Claire's
withdraw,
motion
can
primary
we reach
motion.
an agreement here? Because it's,
And then let's see what
It's not.
Supervisor, or trustee Sweeney wants to amend. So she's withdrawn her motion.
not yet, hang on.
Okay.
Not yet. I think we can come to an agreement, but to convert, the one per, like, 3 people into bonuses, I don't.
Well, no, it's more than 3.
Well, can we find, what, trustee Sweeney, what did you
No,
want
I'm
to
talking about her.
amend it to do? I know, but if we can, I mean, if we can just.
She wants to just give people who don't take the insurance raises. That's what she's gonna amend, right?
Correct.
Yeah. That's not permissible because they can take the
To
insurance.
offer an increase to those people that do not partake in the medical
That's a
insurance.
different thing. That's a stipend. It is not, that's a different thing.
But the board can vote on it.
Oh,
I think
sure.
we voted down. I mean,
Yeah, but we haven't been, right, that's not, what. Right, that's like with the highway department. has done in the past, that if someone doesn't take the insurance, they get rewarded for it. They get a $2,000 stipend.
Okay,
So
I'm
if-
asking for a vote, and you can vote the way you want to, and we go on to the amended, the other.
But here's the issue that I'm having with the amendments. The amendments aren't actually amendments to a primary
Right.
motion. They're totally different motions. They're trying to accomplish totally different things. So I think,
Well, the motion was for a salary increase, and I'm saying a salary increase to a subset of employees from what the original motion asked for.
but that's different than what trustee McKenzie wanted also. I mean, I think what you need to do is just vote on each of the
Right, so you vote on
motions
the
separately.
amendment first, and then you vote on the amendment, and then you vote on the original. That's Robert's rules.
Well, if they want, all right, if they want to vote on the voting, nobody raises except for the people who have,
I'm not
Okay.
participating in the ballot motion.
So my amendment,
I
total
accept.
$3,434 for raises to the 6 people that are that are $3,434 as noted on the chart of the proposed salary.
I don't know what that is. Something jumped into my.
As noted on the, what do you call this? One? On the schedule 1, I think, is one labeled 1 and one labeled 2 of the scenarios?
Are you talking about the people who are part-timers?
I have no idea.
Because
Yes, these are-
they
They can't get insurance.
So what I'm saying, what the motion, what the amendment to the amendment
They're not
is the,
refusing.
which I'm seconding, which
Is to
is
just
the
give
first
part-time.
second, is if you're an employee that doesn't participate in the medical.
These are
for
part-time
whatever,
employees that do not.
part-time, whatever the reason is, they get their increase.
Right.
Even if you're not allowed to be on it?
Yeah. they get their
That's
increase.
the
They're not getting anything
that's
from
the whole
medical.
point.
Okay.
Because these are employees that through no
I just wanna
benefit
get
of their
this
own
straight.
did
So
not
you're-
get the benefit of the $384,000 that was passed on to everybody else in savings and costing the taxpayers, you know,
They're part-time.
afford them the opportunity to get what you were suggesting.
Right. Thank you, Chris.
That's what the amendment is.
These employees, I will just reiterate, so.
You can't, no, if we talk about specific employees, we gotta go in closed
No,
session.
I'm not talking about specific employees, but I'm talking about the employees that you had suggested at 5% down to the 2%, to the 2%. Because they're all below the 0 that we intend to get them up the market rate. Not the 2 that are, you know, that would be a cost of living increase, but just to get them to market rates. So it's the part-time employees.
so then,
And that total is $33,434.
Which is more than either of our totals. More.
$3,443.
I thought you just said 33.
No.
Wait,
3,000.
I'm sorry, you want to make a motion, an amendment, to give only the part-time people who are not qualified for insurance?
Don't
Correct.
participate
For
for
raises.
reason, whatever reason.
No, I'm asking.
Yes.
That's your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
it's not an amendment to the motion.
Right, it
It's a
is.
totally different motion.
So,
But
we're
your
gonna vote on
motion-
Claire's.
Your motion was for a salary increases. This
Right,
is
that's
a
not a
version of a salary increase.
No, it's not.
Is there a salary increase?
It is a salary increase.
These are salary
Okay,
increases, but only.
well, I call the question on Claire's motion.
There's
I'd like the question to be called, please.
There's a
The vote.
number of employees, and the amendment reduces the amount.
Yes, we are going to take a break. Is there a motion for recess? I'll second that motion. So we're gonna have a 5-minute recess.
Can we take it after we take this vote?
No,
No, that's why I need the
no,
recess.
we cannot.
Okay. I just
Because I decided
discussed
we're
the
going to
open
do-
session, so I don't know if the point of recess is.
Because maybe somebody needs to use the
I want to
bathroom.
research the rule and I want to talk to Karen Lynn so that we don't mess this up. Okay.
Yes. Oh, yes, I seconded. Clerk Jelinek, you call roll.
Supervisor Barras?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
This is just a recess.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Swing?
No.
Can I speak to the attorney
Yes, you can speak to the attorney. Okay, Commissioner. Okay, so we are reconvening out of recess. So we're going to vote on trustees' meetings. Amended. Clerk Jelinek, will you call the roll?
Supervisor Marask?
Now, repeat the amendment.
I'm sorry?
Repeat what the motion is, so, sure, did you get the motion? Okay, the motion is to amend the proposed salary increases to.
Amend the amended. Right.
Correct, to include only part-time employees that do not partake in medical insurance benefits currently, and they're under the market as determined by the salary study, and based on scenario 1, which would include 6 employees, and the value not to exceed $3,434.
Second.
Clerk Jelinek, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marask?
No.
Trustee Jones?
No.
Trustee Trustee McKenzie?
No.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Okay, now, Trustee McKenzie, I think we're back to your amendment.
My amended motion.
Right,
To increase salaries in accordance with
the second table.
the table or schedule that goes from 0 to 5% increase, and a total of $32,900, except that for the full-time employees, which there's 12 of them, that are receiving a 1% increase because they're at or above the minimum for the salary study. Those will be bonuses, one-time bonuses versus a permanent salary increase. Well, and they're already at what the salary study said was at 1.
If you look at page, so it's at or above, and so if you look at the actual numbers, they're all below. I'm not seeing above, that's what I'm trying to say. So, okay. Are you having me determine those bonuses of 1%?
They're already on the schedule. I'm just saying instead of a permanent salary increase, that they are bonuses.
So they still get the total amount.
Yes.
They still get the 1%
Right, just the
increase, but
1%.
it's
The rest of them are getting
bonus.
for salaries.
It's not added to their base pay.
Right.
They're just paid, so their salary is going to really be exactly the same as if it were raised, but it will come out for the next year.
And that's keeping with in line with what the consultants recommended.
Actually, she recommended a 2.5% across the board.
That's
But-
not what I read, but okay.
No, I mean, she put in her written and she stated, but I'm sure they'd be happy to get something. So I'm clear of this. So let's just take, for example,
So this would be, this would be bonus. And you're intending that as a one-time paid bonus?
Oh, I'm sorry, we need to take one.
Correct.
So okay, so
We just have a question.
Trustee Smith.
What was submitted in August was $32,474, and this is $32,900 now. Can you just point to what changed?
Yes, I had increased a 1.5 to a 2.0 based on the salary study lady's direction that anybody who worked in other departments or was bilingual doing translation should be given an extra. So that person, I mean, again, we need to discuss a specific person. That's the reason there's a change from a 1.5 to a 2.0 on a particular person who interprets in 3 different departments and speaks 3 languages.
So it was one salary.
Right. It was going from 1.5. I can't, I mean, we have to go into closed session if we're going to.
No, I'm not talking about developmental employees.
So I just also want to state that back in July, Trustee Sweeney had said you should be okay with a $32,000 salary bucket of raise.
I said I was doing some analysis for their notes on it.
Okay.
That's what it
Go
said.
back and watch the tape. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, so, did someone second your amendment?
No?
Reluctantly, I'm going to second this amendment. Because I want my employees to be incentive. But I don't think there should be bonuses under 1%, but at least it's something. So, now, we are not going to make another whole line of speeches, we're going to call this question. Clerk Talons.
Supervisor Morash?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
No.
Trustee Smith?
Now, the employees got a $384,000.
You voted on the grandfather plan.
That is not saying the employees get nothing. That's what this decision was based on for me.
Okay, so moving along to,
Well, we need to know, when, is this going to be retroactive, or are we doing it next pay period? How are we going to do this?
we're gonna figure that. Okay, personnel, there is no personnel, new business. So, Trustee Carabota, and I'm in agreement with this agenda item, has requested a permanent agenda item. I was not here when the government liaison or information officer, Barton's contract was signed. There were some changes to it. What I do know is this. that, okay, so it's gonna get administered through Dana Berman. However, people cannot email their vote or time allotment or any of that, which is why every month we're going to have Dana have a separate report from her administrator's report with her recommendation as to the hours needed for the next month. And Dana and I did go over this, and also Dana, I don't know if you counted this in your report, and can you come up to the podium? I would request a news release on the post-garage sale. All right, having said that, that's the next item, is the administrator's report and the Barton Marketing Group editorial calendar. Yes, please.
Okay, so you can pull out in your board packet. Is this your? Okay. Okay, so in your board packets, I included two things from Barton Marketing Group, if you can pull those out. It was the editorial calendar, and then he wrote a memo on explanation of press release time. So if you can pull those two out, that goes in front of you, with that info. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly how we want to do this, so maybe we can kind of all discuss it this first month. But I was kind of thinking that at least maybe we can do 1 or 2 months at a time, and you'll see in his editorial calendar, he gave some suggestions for what he wanted to compose as far as press releases and mailing news through the end of the year. So I don't know if we want to go one by one for September and October, or if you wanted to discuss each one and let me know what you want to approve all through the end of December. So it's up, of course, to the board. And then I can give you my opinion as well. So let me know how you want to
I think
proceed.
that's a good suggestion, that we look at like September and October
Yeah.
and just approving that. So
Right, and I don't count coming up every month. We can do
Some-
1 month, we can do 2 months,
Yeah.
whatever, the
It'll
board
give us
feels
some
is
time.
best.
Right.
Okay.
So we could look at September and October
Yep.
to begin with. So I know in September, it's probably challenging for you because you had different emails.
That's okay, and we're figuring it out,
But
so.
so he did, is that what
The
happened? He held 2 hours for the.
Right, the first one is done, and I think the board approved that. So one you can kind of cross out, obviously that was done last Saturday. You approved the 2 hours, and that's what he's gonna go for, correct? I think you put that in there, right? So 2 hours total for the photos and the press release. And that
Right.
occurred on Saturday, the 21st.
That's the prior press release, right?
Right, so you said.
I would like a post press release, we
Okay.
had I think all elected officials.
Right, so do we want to talk about what kind of time we're going to allow him for that?
Well, that's probably not been done, it's a different, it's not replacing a format from last year. I think everybody came at a different time. I know Claire and I manned the table with Kim, and I know Trustee Sweeney was there earlier, I'm sure you were, and I waited until the rain was done. So I would suggest 1.25, 1.5. That's not suggesting. I mean, because it has to be written, some quotes.
I would go along with that. I would suggest a motion, a motion approving September 2019, October 2019 with that amendment.
Okay, can I just get clarification on what was said here? Because it says, okay, so it's pre-approved for 2 hours. I think we did this via just emails that we sent you, right?
Right,
So
we're not gonna do that.
We never had a vote.
What's that?
Really, but then it says, for the release and photo taking only at the event, But it says to take photos, process the photos and write captions for the website.
And distribute to the news media, right.
And share with other appropriate sources. So was that?
That was the
other
previous press
hour?
releases that you saw.
Okay, so that was, that was done. That was, that sentence
Correct.
was done too. Okay, I just wanted clarification. Okay, so now you're saying,
So that would be my.
So now
So
I'm
distribute-
saying that I think it would be really good for the township to have a post garage that was very successful. You had a lot of people despite the weather, and I had residents who were coming, people who were saying they came from as far as Chicago to just come to our garage sale. And I know Kim was a vendor, and Claire and I, like I said, manned the bicycle thing that I gave away.
So you're suggesting we get that?
Yeah, so that's an amendment to the editorial calendar.
So that's why, like I said, I would make a motion to approve September and October with that amendment.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one you,
Yeah,
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
okay.
$1.25 a week.
1.25 shall do that, right? Okay. I'm good with that.
Okay, so then we have,
Yeah,
is that all?
That's fine.
Do it second?
Second.
Pete, for the clerk's department, just hunting licenses, I mean, you featured that, like more than, is that?
Yeah, he just puts out a general press release reminding people that we have the hunting and fishing licenses, because this is the time of year that people start coming in for those. So we've been back and forth a couple times on it so far.
Okay. Is there anything else to be covered in that? To mention other services in this.
Yeah, he usually will put in the passports as well, but the main focus is on the hunting licenses for this time of year.
Yeah, there's the second.
And I would assume that this counts for several media outlets, not just.
There's usually like three, It's Pioneer Press, Journal, and Daily Herald.
Yep,
Is that correct?
that is correct. And actually, I told him if he can't be able to.
So what hours are you approving for that? Because he has like a window for that one.
For which one? The one?
For the hunting license?
Steve, how long do you think is?
I would go with the 1.5.
Okay.
I would imagine.
1.5?
Yeah, 1.5.
Okay, thank you. Can we just look the one above it? I think we skipped one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the mainstay seminars, and I don't know if Rich can chime in, because Rich, I don't see anything like a specific.
Yeah, I don't think Rich needs this.
Yeah,
Rich.
if there's not a specific seminar, I don't know if we can approve on something that's not specific, so I don't know.
So what I would say is that we keep it in there, but 1.5, and we use it for agency funding.
Okay, that makes sense.
Rich was starting this.
Oh, I'm sorry, but, well, okay, I already think I know it. Rich.
Well, the seminars are usually near or at capacity, so we
Right.
don't really need as far as numbers for those, but, I mean, we do other programs in the fall, so something about that would be fine. But the seminars, we don't really specifically need that for attendance.
You just said two completely opposite things.
Well, the seminars that we do, we don't really, if the purpose is to get more people to attend, we're usually
You don't
at
want
their
that.
capacity, so we don't need that.
There you go.
But some of our groups that we do, other programs, we could do a press release for that, if that's what the board
Well, it's
desires.
not like we're trying to filter.
Right, I concur with what you suggested.
Okay. So keep the 1.5.
Agency funding?
And then make it about
Okay.
agency funding.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then we'll,
Please have her mention all three dates.
I'm sorry?
Please have her mention all three dates.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Funding,
Yep.
not just one.
Yep, of course.
September, okay.
Okay, then you got the clerk's department.
Okay, and then the last one under September,
Oh, the board of review. So
Yes,
this
I-
is gonna have to be done, like, yeah, yeah.
Did we set the dates yet? Is it?
Well, they're, all right, Assessor Lynn Craig can speak to this because they're very secretive, but she's managed to find out a little information.
I know, seminar August 1st, and then we.
Well, yeah, that was done. They wrote it though. I mean, yeah, that, I get that.
I know that they gave it to them.
Right, exactly. All we paid for was distributing.
But one board of review is open is.
Right,
Wait, we're waiting.
that we need. So when Board of Review opens, it opens. So we need pre-approval of that. So we're hoping, I believe, October 3rd, based on the fact that they're doing these seminars.
No, they're not necessarily going to open on October 3rd.
But it could be as soon as that, right?
The next day.
Right, that's what.
I've been communicating with the assessor's office.
Right.
And it's on there. And we're supposed to be published October 3rd, which means the assessor's office actually publishes in the newspapers. And then from that point on, then the board will be open.
Okay. So my point is, we need to pre-approve this because,
I need to just get it done.
right, I'm a member of the Park Ridge Concerned Homeowners, and every single person is asking this question. I mean, it's just like every single person
Agreed.
asking this question. So let's, can we, 30 minutes?
Okay.
That sounds fine.
Okay. Okay, and so that's it for September, unless anyone has anything else they want to add to it, but that's all.
No, they
It's
can't
proposed.
add.
We can't add, okay, so
No,
that's
we're
a
not,
different
we cannot add to
Okay,
it.
all right,
by
never
email.
mind.
You cannot vote by email, you cannot.
Move on to October. All right, we got what I said.
Everybody.
Ignore that.
Because Dana is not an elected official.
Ignore it.
Cannot be done.
Okay, October.
Sorry.
Okay.
And then October.
A food pantry press release. We do, I would say October, November, we definitely, do these every year. Obviously, it's holiday time and people are more generous at this time of the year. So, see that he's asking.
I'm gonna ask to raise the crop walk one to 1.5 because I think we should have a release on that. That's a pretty big deal. And we always get a big check from Linda Santrella.
The one before that, the one you were talking, the one you were mentioning, you're right before.
Yeah, the food pantry.
It's at 1.5 to 2.5.
Yeah, and we usually
Oh,
do it
that's
this
a
time of the
huge-
year, so I think it's a good idea to
Yeah.
send one out. So if you want to let me know how much time you want to allow, I'll let him know.
I think the 1.5.
1.5?
Yeah.
Everyone's good with that?
Crop, then
Okay,
we have
the crop.
So then crop walk, I would like that to be 1.5 because Carol Langen goes, I go, some of the elected officials go, and we get a check from Linda Centrella from $7,000 to $10,000. This crop walk, I'm sure you all know what it is. It's through Park Ridge and
What's the date of that,
The
please?
20th of October?
October 20th. So I think that,
Plus we're saving some time there
correct.
on the one above it. So maybe we just try to move it a little bit of time.
Yeah, because then also people bring, they're told to bring a canned good, at the crop walk, so.
You think 1.5?
Yeah, that's what I would request. Then the line heap one, I had asked Austin to write it to save money, and so the 0.5 is just for,
Yeah. That'd be fine.
because line heap's a huge thing. We're opening like this week. So there's hundreds of people.
So my motion would be to approve September, October 2019 with those amendments.
Okay.
If I can just add something, I'm looking at the dates for November. So for the May, I've just been looking at the one at the bottom of the sheet. He's talking about mainly news. I guess we can do that one in October.
Right.
Okay, and never mind, we don't have to do that in September.
Right.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, having a motion and a second, any further discussion? All right, trustee Smith. Okay, vote to lines.
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Okay, so that actually took care of both items. All right.
Thank you.
We'll be calling you back up soon enough. Okay, so trustee Sweeney had requested a discussion regarding ordinances including but not limited to garbage, dog barking, and I thought dog pooping, but I'm not sure.
Well, parking was what the issue we talked about before. So, yes, I added this for a couple of reasons. One, we had the discussion last meeting, and I appreciate Doreen's latest
Yes,
memo
thank
she just
you.
gave to us, so thank you. And, getting clarification, because sometimes we don't know, and things weren't even recorded. So, but also, having attended both the garage sale as well as over at, I also went to the 50th anniversary for the fire department, and got a chance to talk to our police sergeant. Help me with her name again? Escaped me right now. Penny. Pardon? Yeah. So, I think the first thing is that if we have ordinances and resolutions, which VH was nice enough to pull one up for me that I was looking at, I had gotten there was a complaint from a gentleman that's on D Road that had said that all the refuse was still there out on the street because garbage pickup went from once a week to once every 2 weeks.
No.
And, pardon me?
Are you talking about Burton leaving?
Republic Services.
Right, but you're talking about
Leaving,
like
yes.
Burton leaving, okay.
Yeah, so-
the recycling went to
Recycling.
everything.
Correct, right. So, Mike had commented to me that many people got flyers, and I know we did a lot, or they did a lot to communicate to people evidently, but I'm not certain that that was really enough for some people, he said, I never got anything, so I don't know what happened, but it sort of led me, so one issue is Republic's contract, and whether we should look at changing that. So VH had pulled it up for me, and I got it online and looked at it, and there was no notice that it changed. We haven't had any kind of amendment to the contract or something saying that it changed.
We did actually get this notice. We had a meeting with Dr. Death or Dr. Garbage or whatever the hell his name was. What, does anybody remember the guy's name?
Filiberto.
Thank you.
Jason that was here, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, I remember him, and he's gone already.
Yes, that's what happened. So, right, Dr.
He was very friendly.
Yeah, so I think therein may lie the problem. I intend to have another meeting. Is they are in violation of their contracts?
Oh, they are in violation? Okay, that
It
was one
states
question. Are they in
that
violation?
it's every week.
Right. Okay, so we don't
they are.
have to do anything then?
No.
It's just they're in violation?
No.
Okay. And then,
I am going to have a meeting, as I resolved it last time, I'll resolve it this time, but they keep having this turnover of whatever position that was. I don't know what position that was, but.
okay, and then the second point is, for those that are in violation of not, because it's a requirement, correct me if I'm wrong, that they sign up for garbage service, recycling service, if they're utilizing it instead of putting it on their lawn or expecting to stuff it into their neighbors or whatever, but there's all kinds of complaints and problems. And we do issue tickets, as I understand it, but then I guess I just want to open up for discussion on the board, like what's our recourse with court, because I thought we had a discussion about this, that we could be going to court. Supervisor Rask?
I'm sorry.
I did.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
The question was about, once we issue a ticket, follow up to that, and should
Okay,
we
so
go
right
into
now we
court?
don't have any, we then issue, okay, so the process is we have a warning followed by a ticket, and Peter does in his report a percentage of how many people actually pay that. So right now, the last time, now we did have a Skokie courtroom, we can have a Skokie courtroom again, but we haven't.
If I can,
Not yet.
okay.
So that used to be the process. Now, I think there had been some discussion about us being the, which I don't think we can do. After Elk Grove's ill-fated attempt at trying to do it, I don't think we can do that.
Well, because I was told by Penny that we could have, if there's problems, that they can adjudicate things. So I don't know whether, whether that
Well,
falls
that's,
out.
we're not a home rule. Right, so one of the reasons we can't make it though, is because Cook County has it. like for example,
Yes.
dog park.
So she told me she doesn't know where it starts, like when we have responsibility and when they could actually do it on our behalf for us.
Where are they adjudicating?
I don't know, she told me I needed to follow up with one of the other guys that I got the name of, so I thought I would ask you about
I
it.
have never heard of
Why?
the Cook County Sheriff adjudicating tickets anywhere. Trustees Swink care about it.
Last time, I know the Village of Norwich has a very effective internal system where they handle that, and they have hearings, and they have a retired judge that handles it, and all that and a prosecutor that's a retired judge. I don't know if we can do something like that, but the other would be, if we had a system before where we had a Skokie courtroom, and we have all these problems.
Then you have to be ready to pay a lawyer.
Yeah, I think that's something we should definitely look at, because we gotta put some teeth on these tickets. And I was told before by Mike, if we put up more signs, it's not gonna mean anything, it's not gonna.
No, well, and a lot of people come in and dump garbage. Like, we
Yeah.
can't, like, ticket somebody for garbage dumped in the middle of D. I mean, like Mr. Levy's problem. It's not like his neighbor's dumping garbage, like, you can catch it. So,
But there may be a little more,
We
I
can't,
mean, there may be a little more, what I would term, respect for the issue of these citations.
Sure.
If we have some teeth, I would suggest maybe we could.
well, we'll have to put that on the agenda, I think,
Could we do
for
that for
the
October?
October.
That's a very good idea.
And then I'll talk to Karen then and discuss, I don't think we need a partner, I think an associate, right?
That's what we could plug,
No, I need to see what this whole scheme is,
yeah,
because
because we could plug into a regular call, we could just.
Well, we used to have.
That's what you,
um,
I'd send it to you, I'll send it to you.
first of all, how many
It's a
tickets
city
roughly,
process.
may I ask how many tickets?
We don't really
roughly
have that, I mean,
Neighbor, and
I'm sorry.
how many tickets we have a month that we're issuing, or violations
right,
that
we
we
did
say?
nuisance abatement. Okay, I'm sorry, in the past, maybe we did nuisance abatement, so we had, I'm just saying, going back to this question. So when we had Skokie, we would do it as a nuisance abatement, I mean, from the state's attorney's office. Yeah,
That's
and
smart.
we condemned the property at 9155 Greenwood. It was very smart, and we won. We got, like, the drug house out.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of work.
and we don't have general code enforcement authority like non-criminal municipality, which for that, like, we can't do an adjudication system.
But we can bring it into this.
I don't know what Penny was referring to, but Pat Murray, if somebody can follow up with Pat Murray, who's the manager of the Skokie courthouse. Well, no, I mean, I'm thinking, whatever. Yeah, I've got.
I was speaking of the township's authority, I mean, counties and municipalities can prosecute citations. And we can do it intergovernmental.
So our authority, the way we did it was nuisance abatement.
Yeah.
Was to, pardon me?
We did it as a nuisance abatement.
Right. mhm.
That's how we would get into the call via the state's attorney. Okay, well, I don't know if you know anything about the current state's attorney's office, they got rid of that person in that unit, actually, the nuisance abatement unit. So that's probably not a go. And what was your suggestion?
Well, whatever ordinances it is that you want to enforce, if I could just see them, then we can put in the next meeting, whatever our system would be.
Yeah, if we put on as an agenda item, and then I'd more than happy to confirm.
Yeah, I mean, if we can do an intergovernmental agreement with somebody to prosecute it, like the city attorney,
Yeah,
or
they're there all the time.
Park Ridge,
Yeah.
well, we are Park Ridge, but not everybody is.
All right, and can I ask, because I think Neighbor's got some update as to, like, how many,
You're asking me how
Yeah.
I read a month?
yeah, roughly speaking.
When I first started, it was approximately 50 a month, but it's gone down because nowadays, seeing awareness, the residents see what's going on, so it's probably 15 to 20 a month.
Oh, so it's making a difference? Because I got the feeling, I thought, we were talking to Mike.
Well, that's because you're hearing from the wacko.
Well, no, just from talking to Mike, like, I thought people were,
Sorry.
no, what I heard from him was that, I mean, first of all, I think, he said not only did the pickup service change to, instead of once a week, once every 2 weeks,
The recycling.
I'm sorry,
Recycling.
I'm in the meeting with your
But
public.
it also changed the dates too, so they didn't even, you know.
Well, they do, and the contract, that doesn't violate the contract to change the dates, they did put
Yeah,
out
as long as
tons of
people are aware.
tons of.
But if there's 50, but I thought what you said is people are, or Mike, maybe I misunderstood it. I thought it was like, you know, they know that there's no consequence to any of these tickets, so they don't really care.
Right.
And I guess just, you know, we're trying to figure out how to keep, you know, beautification to this unincorporated. If they don't think there's any consequence and there's people that are, you know, skirting the system.
That isn't
And
really
they're not paying
right.
for Republic. I mean, what do we do if they're not paying for it and they're putting their garbage on? I mean, you know, it's just something.
The garbage is a different issue.
Well,
They've
okay, so
actually done a good job on the garbage. I mean, they had, like, I had worked out with Tim, who then left for Doctor, or whatever his name was, who agreed to continue what I had requested, which was extra garbage pickup and a dumpster. This area just, something, as you can see from the history of the one complaint you guys had last month, which was unfounded, that sometimes,
It's unfounded.
right, sometimes you, like, and that's doing
Yeah.
an excellent job.
So were these 50, are they garbage and recycling, or is it one or the other? Both?
No, our code enforcement does high grass, roadside, cars. I helped Burton Levy before.
Spider
Neighbor,
plates, a lot of things.
Okay.
And we may have backlog of these.
Well, that's why I was opening
Tickets
this
too.
up to all this.
well, we have to always give a warning first, then we give the ticket. And part of the reason that it's improved is because I told Nader to stop being a softie and be hard. So now he gives tickets, right?
Yes.
I think it's actually, so they're sort of separate issues, the public violating the contract and with the recycling.
But if we have tickets that are in storage that haven't been paid,
Probably 50%.
yeah, so I mean, we can also
50%.
toss that on the pile.
We can, but what's the estimated revenue on that?
What we've written so far,
Mhm.
since I've been here, I've wrote 364 tickets.
Okay.
Probably half of them have been paid.
Mhm.
So then the ones.
So
that-
by
the ones
October,
that-
you'll give us an analysis, so are we talking $300, are we talking $1,000, are we talking $10,000?
Well, from the time I started, I
No, I'm talking,
Backlog.
backlog.
We need to see.
like active tickets.
Let's see if we have any, we add that too, but we also need to know the
I'll
backlog.
have to go
I
back.
think I can chime in. We brought in about $18,000 in the last year or 3 months.
Yeah, we've done good.
And then the ones that haven't paid, what are the backlog of those? How much is that to see?
I'd have to get back to you.
Yeah,
Well, if
because
it's
that could be
15%, that's another 18,000.
another 18,000.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
That's nothing
That's
to
right.
say.
There you
That's
go. And again, it'll give us more respect, on the street.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we'll jump.
But not every ticket is equal, so that's, yeah.
Okay, so that was my point in bringing this up, just to have this
So
discussion.
we have that as an agenda.
So you want that as an agenda item, what do you want it to be?
Discussion and vote on prosecution of past and pending ticket citations.
We don't have authority to vote people.
You say that one more time.
We do it to
Discussion and vote
We do it to
on the process to be utilized for enforcement of citations, past and pending.
I'm sorry, did you get that? Yes. What was it? I'm sorry, Dave. Discussion and vote?
Discussion and vote on the process for enforcement of citations, past and pending. Past and pending.
Okay, so that may take a couple of things, because you're gonna find out, you're gonna be the person
Yeah,
who's
maybe
gonna
with
research
your
that.
experience and your back, maybe we can find them with Carrie London.
Yeah, I'm completely booked through October, but,
Like you say, to see.
city attorney is the only way I can see, but I think we'd have to make an intergovernmental agreement with 5 cities. That's,
No, we can, I think we have some arbitrary, so we can,
Okay.
I need the ordinance, I need to see what we're enforcing, so.
Okay, yeah, because
Great,
we,
thank
just
you.
to make it clear, we only enforce what you see on the, you have the book of ordinances. Those are ours, there's a book of ordinances. It's on page, Michael kindly put it up for us a couple of years back.
How many pages it is?
Yeah, how many pages is it?
About 106 pages.
Yeah, it isn't.
Do we have that on the website now?
And so those are enforced under township. They're very specific. Okay? So you understand, we don't have home rule authority. So I definitely will call Penny and find out what the heck she's talking about.
Well, I mean,
I don't know
Pat
where county
Pat
is.
Murray's the other one that's at the
What?
safety courthouse. Pat Murray was who she suggested that could look into this. So I could call, but I think
I'll call Penny, I don't know if I live in. But I don't know where they're prosecuting county. Dog work. Okay, all right, so we'll have that. We are now up to officials' reports, and keep in mind, there's a lot of premieres tonight. Okay, I'm gonna start with pizza.
To report? Nothing to add to my report.
Okay, then trustee Sweeney.
one of the things I did was attend the summer symposium held by the township officials of Cook County, along with the Hanover Township folks in DuPage County and the Metropolitan Township Association. I thought it was very good, very informative. Some of the things that we have to be prepared for coming up is marijuana legalization, and I never thought that there was so much complexity to that, and preparing for that. So I think we need to have some resolutions and ordinances.
We can't.
That they had suggested that we draft it for a township. So, and there was an employment lawyer there that spoke on this. The attorney's name was Michael Erdu.
I'm sorry, what kind of ordinance are you talking or resolution? Because we don't have any authority to authorize sales, not sales, or any of that.
No, it's not that. It's like, as it pertains to employment law. And when somebody were to come into the township, if they hadn't, it's not like, without getting into the weeds here at this time for officials report, but there's implications of, what you would do in employment law. Dave, you were there as well. So,
isn't that in our personnel policy?
I don't think it's, they talked about
That's one of the things they talked about.
every township needs to, I had no idea, I didn't think about the extent to this and what.
Well, you're not allowed to. You can medically, but you can't.
Because there's employees that could come having just been under the influence, and there's not really a test to test for that, so they're allowed to do it, or there's people that could be coming into the township.
So how would you propose having
So
an ordinance?
I think what I'd like to do is understand what the draft is that, township officials of Illinois is recommending, or Carrie Lynn, I would defer to you, I guess, for what.
Yeah, we've been teaching classes on this, so we can
Yeah,
get rid of.
so I think we have to have something before January 1. So I would suggest that we have that put on the agenda for next month as well.
Okay.
I would suggest we have that put on the agenda for next month as well.
I'm sorry, she just said it's in general for townships, so they have been updating people.
I thought we put it in when we did the updates to the
Right.
personnel policy manual, but I'll check and make sure.
Okay.
I think it's pretty clear, but we can always update the personnel policy.
But anyway, it was interesting talking about, there were several state legislators there that were state reps and state senator and strategies and that they had talked about. So I learned from that. I just wanted to compliment everybody on the garage sale. I thought that it went very well. Richard and everybody that was involved with that, Doreen, I think it looked like it was very successful, and the weather had held up, and so people seem to be very appreciative of all that Maine Township offers with that. And I also went to the North Maine Fire Department anniversary and learned a lot about what they do there, and appreciate their service, so thank you.
All right, trustee Carbone.
Attended the summer symposium also. It's a surprising thing, the most value part was council's discussion that it gave during the lunch hour on marijuana and the impact it has on employers in dealing with employees. It was extremely thorough, and in fact, I would maybe even recommend that he speak to the township. But the whole symposium was excellent, did a very good job, met a lot of great people, and actually learned an awful lot. When it comes to township government, we had a bill that was passed. There was on August 17th. It was sponsored by Republican Representative David McSweeney in the House, and you had Democrat Senator Terry Link in the Senate, out of Vernon Hills in the Senate. It's House Bill 348. Under 348, signed a law giving voters in one Illinois county an option to more easily dissolve township government, reducing property costs and levels of government. When decisions are being made for the township, one of the reasons why I'm very, very cautious is because it really is something that taxpayers are going to sit back and they're going to be very quiet. They're not going to tell you, don't go raising your costs. They're not going to tell you what they object to. They're going to tell you at the voting booth. And they're going to tell you through these bills that are having the effect of abolishing township government. So we have to find that common ground. And it's not doing something because it's better for me. It's something that I'm gaining a benefit out of. There are people that actually do things because they believe it's the right thing to do. And that's what I try to do when I make decisions.
This is for, like, your...
So what I'm saying is that there, with more than 80, they pointed out, Governor Pritzker pointed out, that with 8,500 local units of government in Illinois, according to the website, consolidation time is now. And they're looking for two things. One is to try to reduce taxes, or reduce increases in taxes. But number two, they're also, in my opinion, looking for cash flow to fund pensions. And they think that one of the ways to do it is to shut down township government. That's why it's really important to do a very, very good job in township government, stay below the radar when it comes to costs and expenses, and get that publicity out there, the things that we're doing here in township government, if maintaining township government is the way to go. So those are my intentions. Then protect the employees and also recognize the employees at the same time for the excellent job that they do. Studies on salary take into account none of this. Okay? There are people that say their world is limited. When you're a child, your world is limited to the backyard of your house. As you get older, it includes the schools that you attend. As you get older, like myself, it's much broader. So what I'm saying is we've got to look at township government in the big picture. And to try to go ahead and say, look, you know, we're going to take on a $348,000 expense, we have to have some kind of a set-off for that. Without being, it's not a criticism of the employees. It's living in this real world of right now, township government is not on the highest level of anyone's Christmas list. Okay? So we just got to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee McKenzie.
I just want to say thank you to all the employees and volunteers that helped with the garage sale. It was very well attended and very busy, and seemed like people were very satisfied with all of the offerings despite the weather. Big turnout, and I also heard many people say that they were traveling from afar to be here and had come for 10 years straight and wouldn't miss it, and looked like people were having a good time. So thank you to everybody, especially Rich back there. I know that it's your big thing, and I thank you for that. That's it.
Trustee Jones.
Okay, I'd like to echo those sentiments and thank Rich and Ann and the rest of the employee volunteers. It was definitely a cumulative effort. All the employees were there volunteering their time. It was a success, as it has been in the past, and I just want to remind everyone that the proceeds do go to the summer camp sponsor. So it's for a great cause. It's not only fun, it's a fun family time, and people enjoy it. And as you said, they come from far, they don't miss it, but it's also for a really good cause. So thanks again, guys.
Assessor Monica.
I'd like to sit up there. I'd like to give our figures. For this past month, we've had 853 calls from residents in our office, in the assessor's office. We've also had 1,101 residents visits. We had done 1,243 permits that we published to the county, and we did 221 certificate of errors. We have the 2 property tax seminars coming up in conjunction with the board review, and Dan Patnack will be at both of them. The first one is October 1st at 6 p.m. in Park Ridge at the City Hall. The second one is here at the Township on October 7th at 6 p.m. We always have a record crowd. It does fill up. And hopefully, from my contacts with the Cook County Assessor's Office, we will be published by October 3rd. That gives the Board of Review an opportunity to open shortly thereafter. So it could be a day, 2 days. It depends on what they're doing with the other townships. I just want to go back to pay raises for the people that work here. There's a lot of devotion and a lot of hard work in what they do, and people actually go to the other departments to help. I think in actuality, they had the insurance before because it raised, it's really not their fault. And to not give them some kind of raise, they're actually getting a cut in raise because they're paying more contribution-wise to it. I gave up the insurance, please sir, I'm talking. I gave up the insurance, that was some more money to be put in the kitty. I know someone else has done that also in the township, so that certainly could have covered them. And we have good people here, knowledgeable people who continue education to do the work that they do. So I feel that they're really a credit to the township. Going on another note, through my office from doing an appeal for someone, they did come into our office and discovered that their house had burned down in 2016. They're not back in it quite yet, but we found that we could actually get them $9,672 back because they did not live in that house. All it is land right now. They were ecstatic, besides themselves. I mean, the tragedy of your house burning down and you're paying taxes on it, your full tax amount. But through our discovery, we were able to get them to get this refund, which I would think that would really help them immensely. Insurance doesn't cover everything, you know that. So that's my good little note at the end, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. And you think, so on the October, I know we can't go to the October 1st because of agency funding, but on the October 7th, do we need to register if,
I'm sorry,
for the October 7th?
do you need to register?
Right.
Here?
Yeah. I know, but it gets
You
paid.
don't have to.
Oh.
All right. Just come first, sir. 120 people.
Alright.
Is it at 6 p.m. as well?
It is at 6, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Good job.
All right, thank you.
All right, so the garage sale was great. Great job. Thank you to Maine State, to Annie Camarino, to the committee, to Rich, to Doreen, to all the elected officials who showed up, but most all the staff who participated, which was a hell of a lot. And it was raining. But it was a fabulous event. And everybody wants a free bicycle, so. Everybody had a really good time, and that was excellent. So it's one of our premier events. I think that in our department head meeting, it netted $4,000. That correct, Rich? Approximately? Yeah, that will go to...
4150.
4150? Okay, so that will go directly to fund our summer camp. Okay, next, agency funding. So this year, we are going to be, they're going to be public meetings. They're going to be on the website as the agenda gets done. I've had a discussion with Carolyn. Everything will be on the website, but it's as each meeting occurs. So, the
board packets.
Right, the board packets, yes. It will. So, Rich, you can do that with the full board packet. Right.
Will we videotape them?
Yes, it will be videotaped. She will be taking minutes, and there will be public participation. So the agenda is. So we did all that. Thanks to your staff, who's actually doing it. Okay, and now we have to talk about the levy. So I know we have these agency funding dates. I want you all to think about and be aware of and try to make it happen for us to have a special meeting on November, what is it, 19th? Tuesday, November 19th. So we got a little bit lucky this year, in one sense. This is a big year, guys. So we're going to need a little bit of an educational workshop. We're trying, Assessor Wiley Cry is working to try to get Tanya, who I believe had extensive discussions with Clara previously when she wanted to learn about this process. Tanya is from the clerk's office. She's very knowledgeable about this. So 2019 is the year that if you don't put your levy at a certain amount, you lose commercial revenue, which will then increase our residence taxes. Because we have many commercial properties in Park Ridge and Des Plaines that are coming on the tax rolls, that will be on the tax rolls in 2000. That Assessor Ryan Cry's Chief Deputy Muscoy is preparing a report and depending on the Board of Review, that will be available and that we will give to all of you. So what I'm proposing, so the last day this year to file the levy is December 31st, which is unusual. And the only reason it is because the fourth Tuesday of the month is Christmas Eve. So there's a week more. So we can approve the levy at a regular meeting, at our regular December board meeting of December 26th. Having said, and we can also do the estimated levy at our regular November board meeting. So we don't need any special meetings for that. Now, I am suggesting, you can all think about it, talk about it in October. If we get it done by October, we can do it then. An October board meeting, but I'm suggesting a special workshop meeting for just this subject for November 19th. And that's it. Everybody's been incredibly busy, and so for the Board of Review opening, we're going to be lending out staff. We are having an issue with the front desk. We may need to hire somebody or a part-time person. So if that occurs, then we'll put that on October 10th. Because we not having one right now.
You know what?
Tracy's been ill, so we don't have any substitutes, so then, you know, it's really, yeah, it's really been tough. So, and we need somebody good, you know, so obviously we'll see what's going on with Tracy. I'm not trying to replace her, she's fabulous, but, you know, I can't, it's not, you know, we have Carol Langan, Doreen, Vicky, and, am I missing something?
Jessica, Johnny.
Oh, and Johnny McKenna.
And Jessica.
And Jessica, fill in, and, you know, that's not optimal. Just say, you know, Carol Langan is literally the only person in the food pantry. So, so that's my board report. Okay, now.
So are we voting on the 19th? We're
We
voting.
have plane tickets already.
Okay. How's the 12th?
That's the TOI conference.
Yeah, we're out of town.
I'm not going. Well, the 13th.
Hold on one second. We'll do the 19th, I'm gonna change the plane ticket.
How's that? No.
It's ridiculous.
Wow,
Yeah, we'll just.
flexibility.
I think that's dedication, is what that sounds
That's
like.
amazing.
I think she's nuts. But,
Okay, so it's gonna be a special meeting.
it's gonna be a special meeting.
So, in preparation for that, we're going to have a, what did you say?
I'm trying to get Tanya here to, who's from the clerk's office and who is the people who control
Okay.
this, to give you an educational background on it.
Okay, and she's not able to come from our board meeting.
We haven't even,
I'm trying.
she's trying.
So
So we can
that-
do it
that's a
at our
possibility?
October. It
Yeah,
is
because we're
possible.
not, I mean, that could be, yeah, October, right?
Yeah, except this is gonna be, we're going to,
But you wanna
we
fall.
need to have 3.99% or above for the town fund in order to capture the construction. I'm gonna keep GA flat and Wally's gonna do what Wally's gonna do. But this town fund, in order to capture new construction, so this is where you guys need to be educated on, or whatever. That if you don't do that, you lose all the revenue from all the commercial properties that are going on the rolls. And that includes the multi-million property that opened up in Park Ridge, the senior home, that is adding millions of dollars to the tax rolls, which then gives more, you know, spreads out the taxes amongst the tax base. So commercial is what you want, like Niall says.
What time of the 19th are you looking at?
I'm looking at 7.
Well, unless we're able to get her in October.
Yeah, we can do this October 26th.
Yeah.
Is this girl Tanya, I think Claire would agree, is really knowledgeable.
Yeah.
We're still gonna have that discussion.
I think so.
I mean.
I mean, because October has so many things on it. Yeah, you know.
Plus, like you're saying, November 19th is a good backup in case we.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think you guys are gonna need it. I mean, we did 3 meetings last year. We had 2 of them as specials. We're not gonna need a special meeting to pass this or to do the estimate, which is good.
Or you could just do like a levy workshop.
Right.
Instead of adding that to regular.
Correct. Because a levy workshop, then we'll have nothing else on the agenda. So,
I would say, having learned from so much, you know, less couple times of experience here, the more information we have about our budget needs, the better it is for determining setting the levy, because it's all backwards,
Yeah, that's true.
you know.
Okay,
Budget
so
should be
I
set
went-
before
did you
levy,
guys
so you
get
know what you
this?
need, because
You
when
guys
you
get
don't
this?
know what you need.
okay. So, do you read it? Okay, so, we just, you know, make sure to follow it, the calendar. So, that's, in the back of the perspective.
Okay, is it this month's?
Yeah.
The most recent one?
Yeah.
And you make sure to follow what are you referencing?
The Township and Road District checklist.
Oh, okay.
So we're not the ones that say, oh, we do the levy before the budget, or, I mean, it's,
Yeah, it's
But no
just-
matter what, it is backwards.
All right, so now we're gonna go, I'm gonna make a motion. Oh, administrator.
Oh, no report.
Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna make a. Tristan McKenzie.
I have a question about Daniel's report.
Yeah, sure.
The psychiatrist issue, being replaced with a nurse practitioner and trying to review several options. Do we know what those options are yet?
We are going to have a second meeting with them, but we don't have a date yet. So, and I believe the Jocelyn Center, do you know if they're presenting on this Tuesday?
Did they hire the woman?
It's on the 4th of November.
Okay, so yes, we are not super happy that the psychiatrist is not being replaced. So we had one meeting with them and expressed our concern that nurse practitioner was being replaced, and they are actively looking for another psychiatrist, but in the meantime, we may have to have a nurse practitioner.
And didn't they make a job offer to somebody?
They did, so they had some woman in mind going to make a job offer, they were going to keep Laura.
Yeah, we demanded this.
At a meeting, so things are a little bit in limbo, and as soon as we know anything, we will keep the board informed.
And this nurse practitioner.
We're not happy.
This nurse practitioner can do scripts, though.
She
You
can do
mentioned.
scripts,
Yeah.
but she's not a
But
psychiatrist.
she's not a psychiatrist.
She's not a psychiatrist.
The truth of the matter, she doesn't have a medical degree.
And they should
I don't want to
have
downplay it, she's a
Which you
nurse.
indicate in your report, which is a good point.
Correct, she can write scripts, but she doesn't have a medical degree, and we fund them for a psychiatrist, so those are the difference.
Right.
We will keep you informed as soon as we know something.
Yeah, we've been having many meetings about this. There's a psychiatry shortage.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you were also talking to, is it Lutheran General or have some kind of consortiums? What are they did?
No, not for me.
Maybe I tried to.
No, there's a
Great idea.
If you
No,
know,
there's a mental health board
we talk to.
consortium in Oak Park Township.
I don't know where I read this, I thought we were looking at, okay. Is there any way to hook up with Lutheran General and come up with something?
Weren't they doing video?
And get a free psychiatrist? Oh, you can do telepsych, but
Oh,
it's
yeah, you
really,
can do telepsych.
yeah, they
but-
can't prescribe telepsych though.
No, that's not.
No, it is very important. That's what we are funding Jocelyn for. Telepsych? No, the prescription, I mean, really.
No, I know, it's important, but what I'm saying is, that's not what, it's kind of what
Yeah.
you're saying is the option may be to do it through Lutheran General.
Yeah, it'd be great, but I don't,
Well, I think the thing is that it just cannot promise us a psychiatrist, we might have to look to other avenues.
Right.
And I know there may be other agencies that we can explore. So that's option B.
I have no problem asking Lina, what think was that? No problem. I mean, this is something I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think a nurse practitioner, but they told us, I mean, really, once I demanded it, she said, okay, we'll give you a psychiatrist. We have a job offer out to someone, but, you know, we're waiting here because it's not a lot of money when they go into that. So I guess we're going to hear, but there will be a transition period where we will have to have a nurse practitioner, because whoever they hire, if they do get a psychiatrist, will not be starting until February.
November or something, but it's still not for a couple months.
Right,
Yeah.
so we'll have a nurse practitioner who at least can take our population, which is quite great. But, yeah, would certainly change my funding. Before we go into closed session, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so do I have to start off?
Yes.
My name is Carl Caraboto. Just 3 quick points. First point, Supervisor Morask, I do want to apologize for my initial outburst.
Thank you.
Unseemly. Second, obviously this is not a court of law, but when someone in the audience is referred to, I would hope that we retain the right to confront our accuser and have a chance to respond, regardless of where public participation is. Thirdly, according to Oxford, the definition of family is a group consisting of parents and children living together in a household. Now, I work very hard and I am becoming perhaps indirectly, a talking point for political games, might have you. Whatever it may be, I do not want to be publicly, as these videos are available on YouTube, to any family member to be considered perhaps lazy or on their family's medical insurance. And I do consider that a form of slander.
I'm sorry, but it is all public information.
It is public information, and she's referring to as family as on the healthcare, and that's an inaccurate term, and I would like for her to refrain from referring to the family on the health insurance. It should be David and Diane on the health insurance. There's a misrepresentation of what I do.
Well, two people can be a family.
Do you want me to reread the definition? The definition is parents and children living together in a household.
But I think that's been redefined many times.
You did not write Oxford Dictionary. Thank you.
It's true. And a family can be defined as a lot
Okay, so now we're going to move to.
Nobody ever mentioned your name, so you just actually made
You
yourself
implied it
talking.
to families. You
And you
indirectly
don't show the
accused me
audience
of
your
mooching off of parents' insurance, and I'm not
Nobody
okay with that.
nobody ever said that.
Also commenting on.
Okay, guys,
participation, public
stop.
comment is not.
We are going into closed session. I am making a motion to go into closed session. Oh, to review, I'm sorry, to review closed session minutes. So that exemption. Can somebody second?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Can you vote?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabotto?
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Second, Clerk Jelimes, can you call that?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabotto?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Say what? I think no, because we did it to release them, so, yeah.
Okay, so, motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not gonna vote on that?
He doesn't think we need to, because we
Can't
did
vote
that.
in closed session.
We didn't,
You have to
we
vote.
came to a
Just
consensus.
We came to a
Release.
consensus.
You just make a motion to approve and release the,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, motion to approve and release the minutes of February 26th and March 26th.
Second.
Motion and second, Clerk Jelimes.
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones? Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabotto?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Okay, and now, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Is anyone opposed? Nope. All right, so moved and voted on. This meeting is adjourned.
Hallelujah.